All right, guys, we are back with episode 43 of committing to 5 days of live streaming. So I've gone way past 5 days. So this is great. And so I'm going to stop this music here so I can get this going. All right. So we are reading Shift Your Mind, Shift the World by Steve Chandler. I'll read it just a couple of chapters tonight and then we'll call it an early night. Okay. We are at chapter 51. You can have a secret advantage. Once you've decided you want to succeed at something, one of the things I recommend very strongly is to look for a way that you can give yourself a hidden advantage, something other people don't have that you have. When I started doing public speaking, I used to talk to other speakers and hear them say, "What do you do when your voice goes hoarse?" That's such a problem for me. I give 3 seminars in 3 days and my voice is shot at the end. And it's embarrassing. It's hard to be powerful when you can barely speak. I decided that wouldn't happen to me. Those same public speakers would also say, "What do you do when the microphone goes out or the audio system breaks down and you're there in front of 400 people in the hall? What do you do?" I decided that I decided that too would never be a problem. I noticed that all these public speakers would have so many horror stories about how hard it is to be a public speaker because of how many things that can go wrong with the system or your voice. I even have a colleague today who still tells me I'm about to do one of my 4-day marathon seminars, and boy, it always gets rough right around the second day. I lose my voice, and here I'm drinking cough syrup and gargling and doing all these tricks, but it's pretty ragged. Well, I decided early on I wasn't going to have that happen. After experimenting with it, I realized that if I would sing an hour a day on the average, that I would never have a problem with my voice and that I could always fill the auditorium with it, even if the AV system went down and the microphone went out. The voice would be strong enough to fill the room. Today, I can speak to a hall with 900 people in it without a microphone, and the people in the back of the room can hear me. "You've been blessed with quite a voice," some people tell me. Not true, but if they want to believe it's true, I let them. Actually, before I started my singing practice, I didn't have much of a voice at all. We often mislabel someone's long practice capability as talent. It's easier that way. You can work 6 hours a day for a year on a book, and people will say, "You have such a natural talent for writing. It's a gift." People say, "I wish I was like that." And I wish I could do that. I wish, I wish, I wish. They don't know that most of these talents have been created and that all these people could do these things. Yet they prefer to admire from afar with clasped hands pressed to their chests and eyes dreamy with envy. Ever since I decided I would sing an hour a day, I found a way to work it in. If I had to drive to do an errand, I would bring CDs that I could sing with, and often I would drive around a lot before and after the errand to get the hour in. "What took so long?" my business partner asks. I often bring CDs that were a stretch for me, out of my range, beyond my levels. So I'd always be strengthening and stretching. Because if I just sing along with Johnny Cash all day, not much is going to happen. When I tell other speakers that I do that, they look at me like I'm crazy or obsessed. Yet, if you speak for a living, your voice is your primary tool. Would we call a woodcutter obsessed for sharpening his saw each day? Is he a madman? Wouldn't we want our favorite third baseman to take batting practice? Wouldn't we want our favorite third baseman to take batting practice? Would we call him obsessed if he took a little extra practice during or before a slump? There's a false story about talent that can be shifted in the mind. Michael Jordan, though, he was born with it. If I had been born with that athleticism, I would have been a basketball star too. People really believe these things. So no wonder their world is bereft of opportunity. They live in a world of false limitation with a mind that never shifts. They believe forces beyond their control are responsible for success. But that's the most counterproductive belief anyone could ever have. People are doomed from the start if they believe that. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. So much for infinite, natural, inborn talent being all you need. After that experience, Michael Jordan practiced more than anyone else did. But no one wants to hear about that because it would bring them back into the gym. Their thoughts think of that and reject it. But if they just went to the gym and allow themselves to enjoy themselves, great things would happen. Chapter 52. Your body can lead the way. Your lungs can fuel the journey. Your brain can thrive on oxygen. The physical nature of life is so important. It affects how I think, how I feel, my mood, my impulse to creativity. Quite often, I can elevate my mood just by getting up and walking around. If I'm sitting at my computer and I'm locked into a problem I can't solve, I'll just walk around and take some deep breaths. That will elevate my mood, shift me up the ladder. If I w- if I work visits to the gym and health club into my week and actually put them on the calendar so they can't be moved, that will increase my energy, even though it seems like it would do the opposite. That's thought for you. People think working out would be a great expenditure of time and energy, but what it really does is open up energy and time. It allows me to think faster and do things with a clearer mind. So I want to create a physical equivalent for whatever it is that I'm achieving. So I don't leave that out. I want to always see that it's mind, body, and spirit, and not necessarily in that order. If the spirit is low, I can turn to the body. If the mind is low, I can't solve a problem that is bothering me. I can actually lift my mind by taking a long walk, or taking a run, or going for a swim, or even singing. Singing is just one physical act that draws oxygen in and makes the bloodstream richer and opens up the lungs and brain before I can think more clearly and get intuitions I didn't have before. When I breathe in, I'm inspired. That's what inspiration means. Respiration, inspiration. And I'm breathing into the spirit in me that was born to succeed. It was born to have fun and be fulfilled. It's as much in you as it is in me. Chapter 53. Stop trying to break habits. My client Mickey said, I know I've got to try to break this habit. He wanted to oppose this habit and be angry at it and take a stand against it and then break it into pieces. The problem with that, Mick, is that it will push back. It will persist because you are fighting it and trying to break it. It will grow even stronger in significance because you've created inner conflict with it. You're feeding it with your resistance. Also, on some strange but true level, your ego believes it needs that habit. A habit always has some subconscious survival value for you. So it's going to try to maintain itself if you try to force it out of your life. So don't fight it, replace it. Replace it with an upgraded, healthier lookalike. Habits cannot be broken, but they can be replaced. And that's really the approach that works for me and the people I work with. Let's look back on life as an example. I was stuck in the habit of addiction to alcohol use for years. It was a horrific habit. It was a terrible addiction, life threatening, life destroying, all the things you've read and heard about if you haven't been through it yourself. So, I could try to fight it off and just use willpower and go on a dry drunk and white knuckle it through the rest of my life, fighting off the temptation to drink every time I went out to a social occasion or suffered an emotional story. But that's been proven not to work so well. What does work is to replace the habit, not break it. What works better than medication, better than psychology, is a spiritual program of recovery. That has the best track record, and there's a reason for that. When a person works a spiritual program of recovery from an addiction, they're actually replacing false spirit with true spirit. They're not just eliminating alcohol and going back to zero. They're replacing the freedom that they thought alcohol gave them or the release it gave them with something similar but better. It's interesting that in the Old West, alcohol was described as spirits. It's also interesting that alcohol was referred to as false courage. In a good program of recovery, alcohol gets replaced with true spirit and the courage to change the things you can. You are blessed with the serenity to accept the things you cannot change. Spiritual progress is now happening in life as opposed to the false chemical spirit you are pouring into an anxious human body. The problem with addictive drugs and alcohol is that they always eventually backfire. They turn against you. What they were intended to do turns back around and goes at you. Stephen King couldn't have invented a greater horror. But maybe The Shining was an attempt, for Johnny had a bit of a drinking problem, didn't he? My good friend Lindsay Brady is a hypnotherapist with a great track record for helping people quit smoking. He gets great results in just one visit. He replaces a person's self concept on the matter of smoking. They go into his office perceiving themselves to be a smoker, and after the session, they walk out with a new self concept, a new self perception that says, I am a non smoker. And as a non smoker, they naturally build healthy lungs with deep breathing. Their health becomes vibrant, it increases, and they get better feelings about life because of the way they can breathe now as a non smoker. Non smokers don't smoke. So it's not just quitting smoking that's going on. Smoking is being perceptually replaced by something that's even better. And that's really the way to get rid of a habit. If I have a habit, for example, of having a messy workspace, I might decide that I don't want that. I want more organization. Then what I can do is replace the messy workspace with something that I like better and that functions better. I don't just want to get rid of the mess. I don't want to just break the habit of being disorganized. I want to create a new system that I actually like better. Otherwise, there's no replacement. It won't hold ever. So always look for something you can replace your habit with that's better. Because subconsciously your habit is there as a survival mechanism. At some level, you think that this habit is something you need. So, in order for that subconscious clinging to the habit to be let go, you want to show your subconscious mind that the new system you've introduced into your life is even better. Then it can let go. That's the law of creation. Create a replacement for the habit you don't like. Do not react to the habit by fighting it off. The law of creation is a law that can kick in at any stage when you're ready to allow a mind shift. All right, we are on chapter um, 54. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream, guys. Um, a reminder, if you would like to work with me, if there's anything you want to work on or that you need help with, connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can go live on this live stream. It's very easy, okay? Working with me live is just going on bit.ly/designed live. Okay? All right. I should edit that. I'll go ahead and end the stream now.